It's about 1 in the morning over here now. I came home and I thought on the way here in my car that I would make a kind of like a post fight on the Manny Pacquiao versus Timothy Bradley fight. I rewatched that fight. Must have watched it about 2 or 3 times. Gonna light me a cigar and I'm gonna get started. Got a few things I want to talk about. Henry Winterman, one of my favorites. Cheap cigar. Can't afford the good stuff anymore. It's been a while since I've had a good smoke, actually. Okay. So, I've been looking at a lot of videos. A lot of guys have left up, and opinions vary. If I had to put the statistic out there, I'd say about 50% have the fight really one-sided for Manny Pacquiao, maybe 50 to 60% clear win for Manny Pacquiao. About 20 or 30% say that it was a close fight, but Manny Pacquiao did enough to win, and maybe about 10% out there say the fight could have gone either way, and Bradley took the fight. Personally, I rewatched it twice, and I felt exactly the same way I did as soon as I made my immediate post-fight. It was a good competitive fight, but I thought Pacquiao won it about as clearly as Mayweather beat Cotto, around the same lines. Now, there are a few things that I want to talk about. Having said all that, given what I've seen now, I watched the replays from 2 different broadcasts. I watched it on Prime Time, which is a British channel, which is commentated on by Steve Bunce in the UK, and Tony Thompson, if I'm not mistaken, Ricky Hatton, and a few other guys. And I watched it on Sky Box Office. I watched it with Ian Duck and Jim Watt commentating on that fight. So I watched it. And I watched it on HBO. I noticed one thing, which was quite weird. Both Primetime and Sky had that fight scored 116, 112, exactly the same way as I scored it. They gave Bradley different rounds, but they had it as a good competitive fight. Now, HBO had that fight 119 to 109, so that should give you a bit of an indication as to the type of crew we are dealing with at HBO. Not only that, but if you watch the commentary of the 3 different fights, you see such a major difference in the way these guys. It's like there were times when Bradley was throwing some flurries on Pacquiao and throwing combinations. Granted, I don't think he had him hurt at any point in the fight, but he was landing combinations. And when he did get into that string of things, the commentators would get excited, They would big him up. They'd be like, "And there goes the Desert Storm," you know what I mean? And it was like, yes, it's fucking, yeah, I like to hear that. I like to hear you bigging up the other fighter. But it's like whenever you listen to HBO, man, all they do is ride Pacquiao's dick all night long. Like I say, I really just watch I watch HBO out of some perverse compulsion, it must be, to just sort of for the controversy or something. But Man, that's got to be the most biased crew I've ever seen in my life. I'm not saying Pacquiao didn't win the fight, but like, god damn it, you know? I mean, it was. I recommend you go and watch a different broadcast to see what it is I'm talking about. Big difference, baby, big difference. Another thing I'd like to address is a lot of people are saying that Pacquiao has slowed down, he's looking shabby, he's not as sharp as he... Man, that was the best Manny Pacquiao I've seen since Miguel Cotto. I don't care what any of you say, man. Pacquiao was defensively better than I've ever seen him before. He was hitting, well, I mean, really hard. I didn't see this guy losing a step at all, man. I think he looked, in terms of stamina, he looks to be gassing out a bit quicker now. You know, what the explanation, he's getting a bit older, so it's natural. The same goes for Mayweather, you know. Mayweather looked like he was getting more tired towards the end of the Miguel Cotto fight, so I don't want to hear any of that. But Pacquiao, man, was boxing, for me, he was boxing better than I've seen him in a box in a while. He actually looked better to me. I don't know if that's just me, but, you know, personally, that's what I saw. Bradley was doing lots of things right, man. His only problem is that he was reckless, and I see a lot of guys saying that he gave Pacquiao too much respect. Man, Bradley didn't give Pacquiao enough respect, because the times that he got hit in that fight were when he lost his respect for Pacquiao's power, lunged in all reckless the same way he did it against Devin Alexander. And I said in my prediction video that if he did that he'd he'd be in for a world of fucking shit. And you know, I said that if he tried to fight fire with fire against Manny Pacquiao, he would be in for a short night. And for a minute there, around the 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, it looked like that part of my prediction was about to come true. But I underestimated his chin, I underestimated his heart, and he kept it together and he held him there. So that's props to him. But Pacquiao didn't look bad to me. He looked a lot worse against Juan Manuel Marquez. He looked a lot worse against Shane Mosley. He looked slower against Margarito, to be honest with you, than he did against Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley was one of the best boxers Pacquiao has faced in his entire career, and he did well. He did well. He actually, at points, outboxed Bradley. He didn't just outpunch him, but outboxed him. He was countering him. He was defending well, keeping his hands up. He was protecting his body, protecting his head. He was using that shell defense, which he actually did. He impressed me with it. You know, he was looking like fucking Joshua Clottey in there at points with that shell defense. You know, then he burst out into his offense. He'd move to the right. He was boxing well. He was boxing well. Usually Pacquiao fights reckless and wild, and he did. You know, you can't completely sort of change things up. But I thought he looked good in that fight. I think guys, I'm not sold on that one. Bradley's main weakness was his power. You know, period. And that was Pacquiao's main strength. That was the determining factor of the fight. That was the only thing that determined the fight, the power. Boxing-wise, punch for punch, there wasn't much between them. It's just that Pacquiao's punches hurt a lot more than Bradley's did. Period. You know, there's not much to say there. So, there was this one guy who came on my channel and said, I need to get my Pacquiao glasses off. He obviously had Bradley winning the fight. It's like, get my Pacquiao glasses off, dude. Have you even seen any of my videos? I need to get my Pacquiao glasses off. Man, there's so much I still dislike about Manny Pacquiao. I don't care if he did take this loss with all the grace in the world. There's still a lot that he has to answer for in my book, stuff that I'll never forgive him for. and the refusing to take the blood test, refusing to take part in a procedure that equates to the general well-being of the sport. For me, that is a big no-no. And despite this, I'm not gonna take back my words on that. So I don't need to get my Pacquiao glasses off, man. This isn't the way I wanted Pacquiao to lose at all. I wanted to see him get outboxed. I wanted to see someone put a boxing clinic on him and shut him out and beat him clearly. And I thought Juan Manuel Marquez did that, and I consider that more of a victory than the Timothy Bradley fight. Actually, if people ask me to point my finger at something to indicate just how overrated Manny Pacquiao is, I would point to the Juan Manuel Marquez fight. I would not point to the Timothy Bradley fight, because I'm an unbiased boxing fan, period. And if I honestly felt that Pacquiao lost this fight, bet your ass I'd be out here. I'd be out here being the first. I'd have been the first one to say it. So I think you need to get your Mayweather glasses off, man. I think it's pathetic that all of a sudden now people are seeing Bob Arum for the fucking scumbag that he is now. It took Pacquiao getting jobbed to finally see it, but they didn't see it when Pacquiao fought Juan Manuel Marquez. They didn't see it when they started matching Pacquiao up with all these bullshit fighters from the top rank stable. Then it was okay, but now Pacquiao gets jobbed, all of a sudden, hey, boxing is in the shits. You know what I mean? It's like boxing's been in the shits for the last 20 years, man. Newsflash. Fucking hell, man. This shit really pisses me off. I hate ignorance. And I hate people who feign ignorance toward their own benefit. I hate people who try to propagate their own stupidity and to try and influence other people with their own stupidity just because it meets an end that suits their purpose. Because people were more than happy to live in the blissful paradise where Manny Pacquiao was the greatest fighter that ever lived, when people who really understand boxing knew all along that that was just a concoction of Bob Arum. Now you see it for yourself, and now you refuse to accept it because your man got the wrong end of the stick. And that's just fucking stupid. That's just bogus. And it just goes to show you, if you were pissed off now, and if you're crying about it now, then you are not a real boxing fan. Because you should have been pissed off about all this a long, long time ago. I saw a video by 78 Fight News speaking just about this point, and he really hit the nail on the head as far as I'm concerned in that respect. Anyway, the Mayweather fight. That's not gonna happen this year. That's pretty obvious to me. I don't think they'll ever fight. Honestly, maybe Mayweather make it the last fight of his career. He said he's gonna retire at 37. He's 36 now, so that leaves us with less than a year for that fight to ever happen. Pacquiao Bradley's, it has to go to a rematch, man. Pacquiao is not gonna leave an unavenged loss like that on his record. No way, no how. The next fight is not gonna be against Floyd Mayweather, and if it's not gonna be against Floyd Mayweather, it's not gonna be against anyone else. So that fight's going to a rematch. Honestly, if it does go to a rematch, I'll make a prediction for that. My prediction will be more favorable to Timothy Bradley if that fight goes to a rematch, because history has demonstrated that boxers fare better than brawlers in the rematches. And Timothy Bradley, towards the end of the fight, was adjusting to Manny Pacquiao. Now, it may or may not have had anything to do with the fact that Manny Pacquiao was gassing out towards the end of the fight. But honestly, I just think that Timothy Bradley had that straight left figured out, and he was managing to avoid it in the 10th, 11th, 9th, and 12th rounds. So, if that fight ever goes to rematch, you might be shocked to find out that would be a much, much closer fight than the first fight. And if Manny Pacquiao comes out guns blazing to knock Timothy Bradley out. So how's this bode for boxing in general? Well, it's nothing new. This is nothing new. People are making a big deal about all this because it's because it's Manny Pacquiao. But I've seen so many robberies, man. Oscar De La Hoya versus Tito Trinidad, big robbery. Just going over them in my head, man. No fights are coming to mind at this point. Maybe it's a bit too late. But there have been plenty of robberies over the years, man. Manuel Augustus's career is completely patterned with bogus decisions. Shit that happens all the time, you know. All of a sudden it's a big deal because it's Manny Pacquiao. There's so many shitty decisions over the years, man. Come on, fuck out of here, man. Jim Lampley. The most bogus decision I've ever seen in my whole entire life. It's like, give me a break, man. Come on. Get off this guy's dick, man. Please. Please. It's sickening. It's sickening. It's fucking sickening, man. The whole team. It's ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Man, find yourself a fucking woman to jump up on. It's pitiful. Don't know what else to say, man. Even Floyd Mayweather Sr. had this fight scored for Manny Pacquiao. I saw the video on ES News. It's like, how much more evidence do you need, man? Timothy Bradley didn't win this fight. Didn't win this fight. Did he make it competitive? Yeah, you know, yeah. Same way Miguel Cotto made it competitive for Floyd Mayweather. Doesn't mean he won the fight. He didn't win the fight. It was closer than people are making it out to be, though. It was closer than most people are making it out to be. And I'm not going to be convinced by anyone who tries to tell me that this fight could have gone to Bradley. Just, I don't see it, man. There were a couple of those rounds. You could have plausibly scored even 10-8. No, not couple, maybe one. There was one round where Bradley was seriously looked hurt and he was very, very close to going down. You could have scored that fight at 10-8, you know what I mean? It's just, I didn't see Tim Bradley pressing the issue. I didn't see him in control of that fight up until the 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. Those are the rounds I scored for him. Towards the end of the fight, he was taking control of the fight. He was avoiding all of Pacquiao's punches. And he was demonstrating ring generalship. He did adjust. He adjusted too late, man. When Pacquiao had that energy in him, he was catching it. He was fighting reckless. He was leaving his hands down way too much. It's like, come on, man. You have to respect the guy's power. You have to respect Manny Pacquiao. He didn't respect Manny Pacquiao, man. He didn't respect him. He paid the price for it. It's as simple as that. It's the law of averages in boxing. Manny Pacquiao's a mean dude. How naturally mean he is open to discussion because he won't take a drug test. I've gone over all that already. I don't need to go over it again. Was I happy with the decision? Yes and no. I wanted Manny Pacquiao to lose because of his fans, not because of him. But I didn't want him to lose that way. I didn't want him to lose by getting robbed. He lost the bogus decision. He won that fight. Uh, I know it sounds, silly for me to say. It's just I don't feel that a person should have. I don't feel a person deserves the top spot in boxing when he is not willing to make it a cleaner sport, where he's not willing to do things that are for the benefit of the sport. What would be the best case scenario right now for him to do? Leave Bob Arum. I don't know if that's possible within the terms of his contract. He'd probably have to pay a termination fee amounting to probably millions. Because if you're not familiar with contract law, it's like a basic rule. When you terminate a contract, there is a fee to be paid. If the contract is terminated before its time of expiry. So it's not a simple matter of tearing up the contract. It's not that simple. Bob Arum is a lawyer. If I'm not mistaken, he's a contract lawyer, ex-contract lawyer, so he knows how to draft those contracts. And Manny Pacquiao is tied to him. So unless he's willing to pay a substantial amount of money, he's not going to be able to just rip up that contract and leave Bob Arum, even though that's what we all would like to see. It's something we should have seen a long time ago, because Manny Pacquiao, realistically speaking, could have lived without Bob Arum for a while now. But he didn't do it. And, he's paying the price now. He just paid the price. So, karma's a bitch. Seems to be the running theme of this fight. Karma is a bitch. That's my cigar done. Shout out to all the guys who supported my channel. UK Wing Chun student, guy named Dante, and the number, I forget the number. Shout out to Dante, and a bunch of other guys, man, with the videos out there. I'm not gonna go over you one by one, but you know who you are. If I comment on your channel, basically I agree with everything you say, so it's as simple as that. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to go on arguing about this. I'm gonna hit the sack. I've had a long, long day. Good night.